Hello guys, welcome to a new Get Rekt gaming news video, and today I have some spicy news for you guys because we finally have a teaser for Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 called Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. We'll get all into that news. I totally said it would happen. I predicted it on this YouTube channel. I made a video about Final Fantasy 7 news coming this month, and I was correct, and it was part 2. And we have also another thing that I'm correct on, Dragon's Dogma 2 finally announced as well. Let's go over all this juicy news. Sit back, relax, take a beverage, and enjoy this gaming news video. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Final Fantasy 7 anniversary event that happened last night. I was watching this live and I was like, oh, after it, I would just want to make a video because I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, and I was even thinking of making a midnight video for you guys, but I have to get up early tomorrow because I'm going on a holiday break. I have a video for that as well coming probably online today. Let's go over all the announcements in this Final Fantasy anniversary event live stream-ish video. It's basically the same thing that they did for Kingdom Hearts back in April, where they showed off some of the mobile games and then Kingdom Hearts 4. And now they basically did the same thing for Final Fantasy. This stream was so good, by the way, because we also have a remake for Crisis Core, but I'm going to get all that. So let's go by order what was announced. First, they announced the fact that Final Fantasy 7 Remake will be coming to PC, which means integrate version with the DLC, I believe. It's coming to Steam, and there's also up to 29% off, I think, like a sale. And it's also working on Steam Deck, so if you want to play it on Steam Deck, you can actually. But no Xbox release. That's really weird. I did anticipate that, and the Snitch, which I will cover soon, he like showed different colors for every like console, and the green one was there as well. So people were thinking, oh, it's going to be on Xbox, but it was basically for the Crisis Core remake that he was hinting at. So unfortunately, 7 Remake is not still coming to Xbox. I think PlayStation is just paying them a lot of money to keep it exclusive. So I'm sorry, Xbox fans, just play it on PC or on PlayStation. So the next thing that they announced was the first soldier stuff, but I'm going to skip that because no one cares about a Battle Royale game, especially a Final Fantasy one. Ever Crisis got a update. And it's basically this mobile game remake also of Final Fantasy 7, but then more staying true, I think, to the first game. Also getting all the other Final Fantasy spin-off things like Advent Children, the movie, and the Crisis Core, getting all this in like one mobile game. It's actually a pretty ambitious mobile game if you think about it, because they get all the story of all these Final Fantasy 7 properties into one game. But I'm a bit worried about it because it's probably free to play, and then it probably has microtransactions. So, and I don't hope it gets banned in my country. I live in Belgium, but we shall see how greedy they are going to be with that game. Let's get to the good stuff, which is a Crisis Core remake, which the Snitch hinted towards. We have a post here from the Final Fantasy Twitter page. His legacy gave life to Final Fantasy 7. Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7 Reunion. It's a shitty name, but just why can't they just call this Crisis Core Reunion? But oh well. Featuring updated 3D models, full voiceovers, and new music arrangements, launches this winter on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Steam. So it's basically on everything. Yeah, this is basically a remake of Crisis Core. I never got to play Crisis Core, so I am really happy with this. It was a PlayStation Portable title, I believe. So I never got to play that. And I am a big Final Fantasy 7 fan, so this is really hyped for me to see the story of Zack, which I don't know, so that's going to be very interesting. If you look at the trailer, I will put the trailer on screen for you guys. You do see like the graphics, they aren't that amazing compared to the remake, but of course it's on the Switch. Don't expect too much, it's basically a Switch title-ish, and then the graphics have to be a little bit downgraded. This year is very barren so far for me. I hope God of War is there, because I will be very sad if that isn't the case. And I hope Hogwarts Legacy, at least those two, can make still this year. Hogwarts Legacy and God of War, I will be so happy. But that this is going to release around this time. Well, they did say winter, they didn't even say fall. So it could still be next year. Square, please, please, please try it to be for this year. But this year is so barren. Bare bones. I would be very just happy if they can try to get this out for this year, maybe for November or December. But we shall see. A Crisis Core remake of Final Fantasy VII is really cool. It basically has upgraded graphics and character models, the things you would expect. But the big boy, oops, that we are going to talk about is Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, which is called Rebirth. We're delighted to present a message from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth creator, director Tetsuya Nomura and director Naoki Hamaguchi and producer Yoshinori Kitase. So I'm going to quickly read Nomura's message because he is one of the most important guys there, the creative director. I don't think he is the full director, but he has a lot of sway in Square Enix, and I love him. He's a cool dude, so I'm just going to read his message, so I say. As revealed on the broadcast, there are currently 4 Final Fantasy VII projects being developed in parallel. Yes, that they also confirmed, by the way, already that this will become a trilogy, and that the next part 3, is basically already in development. This stream was so amazing. I cannot believe it. So next year we have Final Fantasy 16 and Rebirth. If it comes out, of course, and it's not getting delayed, but we shall see. So there are 4 Final Fantasy VII projects being developed in parallel. Although each of the 4 titles plays a different role, they are all connected through the high-quality depictions of Final Fantasy VII's world and characters. As someone who was involved with the development of each and every one of the original titles, I deeply understand the vision and thoughts behind each project. I am actively involved in the development process for all 4 titles. Thank you, Nomura. I love you. Great. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is being designed so that people can enjoy this game whether they know the original game or not. In fact, new players might even enjoy starting their Final Fantasy VII journey with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Cloud and his friends embark on a journey in this game, and I believe that the scenes they witness after leaving Midgar will give players a fresh new experience. Can't wait to share the intention behind the naming of the first title, Remake, and the second title, Rebirth. In time, I hope to reveal what the third title will be called and where the journey will ultimately lead. The development of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been progressing rapidly since we adopted a new development structure. Ooh, that's interesting. A title of this scale in which everything is interconnected even before production began is truly rare. Okay, so they all thought this out before Remake 7 Remake even came out. Of course, you would think so because they cut it off, like the story, just for only Midgar. In fact, some development has already begun on the third title. I myself have started on the development and I'm working towards the completion of the series. We will work to deliver this title to the fans with the same amount of enthusiasm from now until we reach the finish line. In the meantime, please enjoy the other 25th anniversary projects that further expand the world of Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, I cannot wait for this. I will show the trailer on screen as well. Just a short teaser, you see Cloud walking with Sephiroth. If you've played the first remake, you know that they changed up some story bits. But they mostly keep in line with the original game for the events that are going to happen. And they do this because then they have the original that you can play, but also the remake. And that they are basically worth bothly to be playing. And Rebirth probably has something to do with the story, that maybe some characters get back from the dead. Question mark. If you've played Who Dies in Final Fantasy VII, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil the game for you guys. Or maybe it's something else towards something else that they call it Rebirth. That's all I have for Final Fantasy VII news. It was a great day for Final Fantasy VII fans. Man, we are getting Crisis Core, Kingdom Hearts 4, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Final Fantasy 16. It is just an amazing time to be a Square Enix fan. And presumably they are also busy with Dragon Quest 12. So, and of course you have Forspoken, but I'm a little bit iffy on Forspoken, but the rest all seems amazing. I'm hyped for Final Fantasy. Next thing I want to talk about is Dragon's Dogma 2 being finally announced. And I also predicted this not too long ago, because it was the anniversary, the 10-year anniversary, and I was like, they are making this a big deal for a Dragon's Dogma anniversary. Why are they making this such a big deal? And of course, it's because they have the second game as an announcement. This happened in their anniversary stream, the same thing as Final Fantasy, but they only had like a documentary of how Dragon's Dogma was made. And at the end of the video, they showed, hey, we are making Dragon's Dogma 2, be excited. So I have an article from for PC Gamer about Dragon's Dogma 2. After 10 long years of watching people ask for a sequel to Dragon's Dogma, Capcom is finally making it happen. Series director Hideki Itsuno announced that the new game is a surprise reveal at the end of the 10-year anniversary mini documentary for the original Dragon's Dogma. I actually never got to play the original Dragon's Dogma. That's wrong. I did play it, but I didn't get into it that much because of the art style. It just seemed very bland. But I've heard really cool things about the gameplay, so I hope that this game is getting a bigger budget towards a more beautiful art style as well, to get me in. It had some really cool ideas, climbing these monsters. It basically is a bit like Monster Hunter, but then in a single player form. And I don't like Monster Hunter because I'm not the biggest multiplayer gamer. So I really want Dragon's Dogma 2 to succeed in some way. Sorry to have you kept waiting, Itsuno said, while dramatically unzipping his sweatshirt to reveal the Dragon's Dogma 2 logo. Everyone in the development team is hard at work, creating a game that we hope you will enjoy. Please look forward to it. Itsuno dropped the proverbial microphone and the stream ended after a short shizzle reel from the original game. In a follow-up tweet, Capcom also said that the Dragon's Dogma 2 is being made in the Resident Evil engine. So that's really cool. If you guys know the modern Resident Evil games, they have a really good engine. And this is really cool to see Dragon's Dogma on this engine. I do wonder though if it can handle open world. We shall see, because Resident Evil are mostly linear games. Maybe that's also the reason why Dragon's Dogma 2 is really taking long. Because I've seen rumors for Dragon's Dogma dating back very long ago. It was also in the Nvidia leaks, so the Nvidia leaks is right yet again. So that's all we really have towards Dragon's Dogma 2. We don't really have any information on the story, on characters. Will it feature a new story? I never played the original one, so maybe it's ends on a cliffhanger that they could do the original, continue that or something, I don't know. But we all just know that it's developed and it's on the Resident Evil engine, so that's all. We don't have any really specific details. Will this game take a long time? They haven't really anything to show than just a logo, so I think this is going to take some time before it's going to be released. Also, we have Pragmata that's being done by Capcom at the moment, and I think that will release first, as well as the Resident Evil 4 remake. So don't expect this for any time soon. This might be like a 2024, 2025 game at the earliest. So that is all that I have for you guys. Again, a 20-minute video, amazing. Are you guys hyped for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Maybe for the Crisis Core remake? I am very excited for that. Are you excited for Dragon's Dogma 2? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, give me a like, subscribe, visit my socials, that would be amazing. Thank you guys as always for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!